What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking about how the loadout structure works in Black Ops 7's multiplayer, since this was just recently revealed in a blog post. So in this I'm going to be going over the structure of the loadouts, many of the individual loadout items, excluding perks. I'm going to keep that for a separate video because there's a lot going on with the perks and that would take over this entire video if I were to break them down individually. And just a few other interesting things that I've noticed when it comes to creating your loadout in Black Ops 7. So diving right in, let's have a look at the basic structure, which it turns out this is identical to Black Ops 6. So for your loadout, you get to choose a primary weapon, and by default, you get 5 attachments on that. We get to pick a wild card, and I'll go over the wild cards in just a little bit. Then you get a secondary, that could be a pistol or a launcher. They'll probably have a special category as well. And we once again get that dedicated melee weapon slot. Then after that, you get a field upgrade, a tactical, a lethal, and 3 perks by default, 1 from each tier. But of course that can be expanded with wildcards, and if you mix the right colors, just like in Black Ops 6, you get a combat specialty. However, they've expanded the combat specialty system to where you can get hybrid combat specialties as well. And again, I'm going to dive much deeper into that when I'm talking about the perks, but just the basics of how the hybrid combat specialties work. Instead of having to match 3 perks of the same color, if you match 2 perks of one color with a perk of any other color, that will grant you a hybrid combat specialty, and the specialty that you get is dependent on the combination of perk colors that you use. And I'll just talk about one example here. This is the Scout Hybrid Specialty. With this, if you combine blue and red perks, that can be either 2 reds and 1 blue or 2 blues and 1 red. It doesn't matter as long as there's 2 of one and 1 of the other. You will get the Scout Specialty, which, when you get a bullet elimination, you stay completely hidden from the enemy's minimaps for 5 seconds. And additional eliminations during this period will reset that timer. So that's just one example, and I find that to be quite interesting. That is something similar to what I've been asking for in Black Ops 6, where basically it just felt like the combat specialties requiring you to match 3 perks of the same color. It often felt very limiting, and it often felt you were selecting your perks just to get the combat specialty, not because you actually wanted to use those perks. And I found that to be a little bit annoying that I was making choices like that, rather than making choices based on what I actually just wanted to use. And I feel like the combat specialty should be more of a bonus. And in this case, that's more so how I see it. Sure, you still have to think somewhat about which colors you're choosing, but you're much more likely to at least get some form of a bonus with a combat specialty without having to really try all that hard or make any big sacrifices to make that happen. So I do consider that to be an improvement, but I have more thoughts that I want to share on that in the dedicated perk video coming up fairly soon. Next, let's circle back to our primary weapon and talk a little bit about the Gunsmith, which once again, it doesn't look like they're really making any big changes from Black Ops 6 as far as we can see. As I said, we get 5 attachments by default, with the option to expand that using the Gunfighter wildcard up to 8, just like in Black Ops 6. And we've got most of the same attachment slots here. On this assault rifle at least, we've got an optic, muzzle, barrel, underbarrel, magazine, comb, which is new for an assault rifle at least. Normally we wouldn't see that on assault rifles. And that would more so just be reserved for sniper rifles or possibly marksman rifles. Then we've got the rear grip, the stock, and laser. And the key thing that appears to be missing here is the fire mod section from Black Ops 6, where we have like rapid fire or our different ammo types, for instance. However, in saying that, there is a little blue bar underneath, and it looks like it's possible you can scroll one more over, so maybe weapon mods are actually there, and this one just has 10 attachment slots. So it's hard to tell for sure. That might be what's going on there. Either way, the general structure is very, very similar to Black Ops 6. I think we really need to see the individual attachments to fully judge this system and how similar it is to Black Ops 6. Like, so far it's looking pretty much identical, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to which attachments are in those slots and what kind of variety do they offer? Like, what do they actually do to your gun? And are we going to have more attachment variety, or is it going to be fairly simple again like Black Ops 6? Time's going to have to tell on that one since they just haven't revealed all that yet. I guess this is a good time to talk about the build codes as well. This is a new feature they're bringing with Black Ops 7 where once you create a weapon build with all of the attachments you want on it, it will automatically generate a build code that you can share with other people, and if they enter that code, it will create that exact same build for them. This seems like a neat system, but after seeing how long the build codes are, for controller players, it really seems like you'd be able to just add those attachments onto your gun faster than you would be able to type out the build code. So maybe for PC players, this is going to be great because they'll have a mouse and keyboard plugged in and they can just type that in really quick. But for console players or controller players, I don't think this is going to be quite as useful as it seems. They also mentioned the firing range will be improved a little bit. Unlike with Black Ops 6, we will be able to access our Gunsmith in the firing range without having to back out to the menu, so that's nice to see. And they also made a mention of having the ability to have moving targets to shoot at, and the recoil wall will be returning. And finally, with this section, they're also bringing back the advanced stats screen. There's no surprise there. I just wanted to point out that it is, of course, coming back. Next, let's talk about those wildcards a little bit. And for the most part, it's exactly the same as Black Ops 6 as well. We've got Overkill, Prepper, High Roller, Fly Swatter, Tac Expert, Gunfighter, Pert Greed, and Danger Close. Those are all from Black Ops 6. However, the one that I'm really happy to see here and quite excited for is Specialist. If you equip the Specialist wildcard, this replaces your score streaks when using that loadout with 3 additional perks on top of the ones that you normally choose. And you earn them like low-level score streaks. So you'll earn your first one at a 200 score streak, second one at 400, third one at 600, and then at 1200 score, you get your Specialist bonus, which will earn all remaining eligible perks. And for those that have been around my channel for a while, you guys know I absolutely love this form of Specialist, and I've really been missing it over the years. I was so sad to see it not come back to Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 especially. And I was basically begging for it to come all year round to Modern Warfare 3. It's great to see Treyarch is bringing it to their game, because it's not normally a Treyarch feature that we would see, but I'm so happy to see this. I love turning myself into a super soldier and sacrificing the ability to earn score streaks in order to do that. I'm very happy to do that. And as much as I'd prefer if you just select your loadout as being a Specialist loadout or a non-Specialist loadout without having to use a wildcard, I think at the end of the day, using a wildcard for this is just fine. I'll be happy to do it, at least on some of my loadouts. And I do think that is a fair enough trade-off to gain that power. One big question I have when it comes to Specialist is I wonder what happens to the Tactical Sprint perk. Because for those that don't know, Tactical Sprint is no longer in the game by default. You have to run a perk. It's a tier 3 perk in order to use Tactical Sprint again. And I don't like Tactical Sprint. I was actually really happy to see the removal of this. So I'm wondering, if you earn this Specialist bonus, does that force you to now use the Tactical Sprint perk? I really hope not. I hope that's one of the perks that's excluded from that bonus. In either case, that's the wildcards. Now let's talk a little bit about field upgrades. We've got some returning field upgrades here, as well as some brand new ones. And keep in mind, with the field upgrades, we do have the ability to overclock them, which means we can level them up and unlock sort of a bonus perk that's attached to that field upgrade. And with this, of course, we have the Assault Pack coming back. We have the Drone Pod, which is a deployable device that launches aerial drones, and those drones will seek out enemies and explode. I'm honestly a little bit concerned about that one as a field upgrade. At least on paper, that seems more like it should be a score streak than a field upgrade, but we'll have to wait to see how it's balanced out, of course. Then we've got the trophy system, no surprises there. We have active camo, which we've seen shown off many times throughout the reveals. We have the Echo unit, which is that hologram decoy thing. So you throw that on the ground and it will project your character model that, at first glance at least, looks quite a bit like a real player. But if you look close enough or if you shoot it, you can definitely see that hologram effect take place. Then we've got the Squad Link, which is a brand new thing. I thought this was an ACS showing up in the trailer from Modern Warfare 3. This is a deployed device that boosts score and improves effectiveness of allied operators and gadgets that are in range of it. So I'm really looking forward to breaking that one down and finding out exactly what it does and all the details, because the description is a little bit on the vague side. But after that, we have the Scrambler, no surprises there. We have the Fear Trap, which is basically just the Nova gas. We have the Black Hat coming back from Black Ops 2, and this is a device that allows you to hack enemies, equipment, and score streaks. And you just have to aim continuously at a target in order to hack it with this. And then finally, we have Mute Field, which is a stealth device that reduces your footstep volume, hides you from enemy minimaps, and prevents you from being targeted by enemy score streaks for a limited time. And I really like the sound of that one, especially because it's not the only way to mute your footsteps. It's not a replacement for the Ninja perk. We do have the Ninja perk in the game. It's just something you could use as an alternative to that. If you want to run a different perk instead, you can also use this field upgrade, which for a limited time at least, it appears it's going to give you essentially Ninja, Ghost, as well as Cold-Blooded. So those are our field upgrades, and honestly, outside of that drone pod, I'm really liking the looks of a lot of these. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on some of them and doing some testing with them, but they sound good to me. After that, let's go over our tacticals, since we get to pick one of these for our class as well. With this, we have the Stun Grenade. The EMP Grenade's going to be there, which is nice to see. The Flashbang, the Pinpoint Grenade, which is kind of like the EMD Grenade from Modern Warfare 3. So when you throw that out, it will detect enemies within its range, and it will shoot them with a tracking device, which can be removed by the victims, but that will show their location when they are tracked. And you can actually overclock this one so that those tagged enemies will also show for allied players. After that, we have the Stim Shot. At the moment, there's no word as to whether or not this recharges automatically like the current Stim Shot does, but we've got it in the game. We also have the Sight Grenade, which we did see a brief clip of in one of the earlier reveals. And with this, it creates a red cloud when it goes off, and any enemies stuck within that are going to hallucinate and it appears it switches every character model in the game to match their character model that they're using. So all teammates and enemies are going to look exactly like them. So that's going to be quite disorienting. After that, we have the Hunter Bot, which is a personal defensive device that hovers near and homes in on enemy equipment, field upgrades, and score streaks before exploding on impact. So that's kind of cool. It makes sense as a tactical since it's just targeting other equipment, not players. And finally, this just leaves us with the smoke grenade and the decoy grenade. And with that, this just leaves us with our lethal category. So let's go over these. We of course have the frag and semtex. We have the cluster grenade, which we did see a clip of in the recent multiplayer trailer. And with this, there's an initial explosion, and when that happens, a bunch of mini grenades pop out, and then those will explode shortly after as well. We have the combat axe coming back. We have the point turret, which we've seen show up a bunch in clips. I thought this was going to be a field upgrade, but nope, it's a lethal piece of equipment that you can throw down, you can attach it to walls, and it's basically like a mini sentry gun that's far less effective than a sentry as far as we've seen. So it will lock on to enemy players that are within its view. It has a really bright laser, so it looks like it's going to be quite easy to detect these, and it will shoot them. It's also quite easy to destroy them based on what we've seen in the clips as well. Then on top of that, we have the needle drone, which we did see shown off in a reveal. And this one can be manually controlled or automatically controlled, where you just let it fly straight toward a target. Although it seems like you do have a very limited amount of fuel or time to fly this. Next, we have the C4 coming back, and also the Molotov will be returning. And there we go. That pretty much wraps it up for all of the important class items, again, excluding perks, which we'll be talking about in most likely the next video on this channel, unless some other important news comes up in between now and then. Overall, so far, I'm not seeing too many like glaring issues or anything with how things are structured. Obviously, we really need to get some playtime and play with a lot of the new items especially to see how they actually play out, so I can't really form an opinion on that. One thing I'll mention is I am a little bit disappointed that we're not seeing as much of a difference from Black Ops 6 to Black Ops 7 in many areas. Like, the class structure itself is literally identical to the Black Ops 6 class structure. And it's not that I necessarily dislike this particular class structure. I think it's totally fine. It just doesn't really feel as new or fresh. It feels more like just a continuation of Black Ops 6. And I do feel that takes at least a little bit of the hype and excitement away of having a new game. Now, that is a little bit nitpicky because, like I said, there's nothing really wrong with this structure. I actually quite like the general structure of how they handle things here. And I'll also say I really like the looks of this UI as well. It's looking nice and clean and different enough from the recent years of Call of Duty that have often looked very similar from one year to the next. At least visually, they've really changed things up here, and I definitely appreciate that. As for the big highlight of all of this for me, though, it's that Specialist wildcard. This is actually going to be a very big deal gameplay-wise to me, and it's the one big thing that we covered today that's really getting me excited to hop in and play. Although, unfortunately, it's not going to be available in the beta build of the game, so we will have to wait for launch to experience that one. And with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about everything we covered in today's video, like the general loadout structure, the fact that we've got the Specialist wildcard coming back? Are there any field upgrades or pieces of equipment that you're really excited for or maybe nervous about? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.